Hi there, it's Mr. Clark. Welcome to lesson 3.4.1 on Tempi. So, today we're going to be looking at another aspect of music that we haven't really talked about yet. It's related to rhythm, and it's the rate of speed of the pulse. Um, so there are two basic ways to talk about it. First is very precise. It's with metronome markings, and this tells you how many beats per minute there are. So if you have dotted quarter note equals 60, that means that there are 60 dotted quarter notes per minute. That is 1 per second, because there are 60 seconds per minute. But the metronome wasn't invented until the 1810s or so this option was not available to earlier composers. Like other music vocab that we've looked at, like dynamics, the most common tempo words are in Italian, though depending on what music you're looking at, English, French, and German are also very common. In which case, I would recommend using the internet. Well, hopefully not for English, but for French and German, if you're not familiar with them, just use the internet, figure out what they mean. That's what I do. And there's a lot of context and historical reasoning behind exactly what speed different tempo words might use, but these are some probably appropriate tempos, or tempi, rather. Either plural is acceptable. That would correspond to each tempo marking. So you can look through this chart on your own, but largo lento would be 56 would probably be a reasonable tempo. And you can get free metronome apps on your phone that'll give you tempo and beats per minute. And adagio, andante, moderato, allegro, vivace, and presto. When you're writing tempos, tempi, many composers will give both a descriptive word and also a speed. So like here you have ominously, dotted quarter equals 60, or waltz tempo. You want to be careful with like waltz tempo or march tempo, because if someone doesn't know what a march tempo is, then that doesn't actually give you any information. Last thing to talk about, like sometimes in dynamics you want to gradually change from one to another. Same thing with speed. Sometimes you want to gradually get faster and faster, and that would be an accelerando. That would be gradually speeding up. The opposite of that would be ritardando or rallentando, gradually slowing down. And there are alternate words for both categories, but and there are some composers that use them to mean specifically slightly different things, but as far as I can tell from research, there isn't actually a standardized consensus. So if you want to use like ritardando and rallentando to mean separate distinct things, you might want to specify that in your program notes, because there isn't a standard meaning that most composers agree on that would differentiate the two of them. And then the other word would be a tempo, returning to the initial or previous tempo. Whenever you're writing tempos and tempo changes, you write it above the top staff of a piece of music. And if you want to show an accelerando going for a specific length of time, you would just keep it go, write accelerando, and then have a dashed line as far as you want that to go. So that's what I have for now, and I will see you next time.